Maybe if you clicked on this video, maybe you had a great date. Maybe you've been seeing someone for a couple of weeks and you think that everything's going good. But is it? Are you wondering why it's been hours or days or maybe even a week since this person has reached out to you, asking to see you again or telling you whether or not they like you or not, and you're just stuck here wondering, does this person like me? Did they like me? Am I too much? Am I too little? What am I to them? I had a good time, but I just don't know how this person feels about me. Well, let me tell you, if you are in that boat, today is the perfect episode for you because there's a lot of questions that you have to answer. And I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to hopefully give you an answer today because you might be talking to anyone with an ear, your friend, your parent, your sibling, your coworker, literally anyone that will listen, telling them up and down and all around about this dynamic, this early stages of dating that you are in, and you just can't quite tell whether or not this person likes you. Well, if you are wondering that question, this episode's for you. Today, we are going to get into the nitty and gritty because at the heart of this question of do they actually like me, I hear a couple of things. I hear, first off, anxiety. You're anxious. You're like, what the heck? I don't even know what's going on, but I know I like this person, and do they even like me back? Number two, the other thing I hear is a little bit of insecurity. If you have this worry of whether or not this person likes you, there's something inside that you don't feel quite secure about. And that takes me to point three. We're going to talk about intuition because when you are feeling insecure because of how another person is responding to you or lack of response, it was a better term, honestly, then there is a piece inside of you that does not feel secure. And that is your intuition telling you, hey, something's up. So, we're going to talk about anxiety, we're going to talk about insecurity, we're going to talk about intuition, and we are going to talk about how you can figure this out because at the super core of this is maybe the fact that you need to communicate with this person how you feel or ask them the question or simply let it go. And hopefully, you will be figuring out how you want to proceed with this because if you clicked on this video, I know a little bit of something about you. I know that you might be desperate to figure out whether or not this person actually likes you without asking whether or not this person actually likes you. Maybe you've gone to ChatGPT and you have given them the ins and the outs of this date or this dynamic or blah, blah, blah. And you've asked for advice and ChatGPT is like, you're doing great. Just tell them how you feel and everything will be fine. Wait, maybe you've used ChatGPT as a little bit of a therapist. I know I have from time to time. But today we're going to have a talk because you need to have a little bit of realizations. You need a voice of truth and honesty right now because I have been there. I am someone where I definitely can sway to having an anxious attachment style. Right now, I am currently in a healthy relationship. I love my boyfriend. However, early on in dating between us, I had that anxious attachment style. I had it previously with other relationships that I was in or dating people. I was only in one other relationship. But the point is, I know a thing or two about an anxious attachment style. But I also know that when you are in a healthy dynamic, even early on, that anxious attachment style can sort of melt away. And this feeling of, do they actually like me, may not even appear if it is the right dynamic for you. So we're just going to start off there. That's where we're going to start off this episode is let's figure out how much time do you really want to give this? How much effort do you really want to give this? Is this person really worth your time if you have to ask yourself this question, do they actually like me? When you are stuck in this mental block of just not knowing whether or not this person that you're seeing, maybe you've gone on a couple of dates, maybe you guys have been seeing each other for a couple of months and you just can't quite tell where this person is in the relationship. Your anxiety is very loud. This relationship, this dynamic, this whatever might be the center of your focus, that it might not let you see the whole picture of what's going on. Because the thing about anxiety is that it's very hard to ignore. It is a very loud voice that happens in our minds that points out all of the things that we think we did wrong, but it doesn't necessarily point out what the other person has done wrong. It doesn't necessarily point out, the things that we didn't really like about this other person when we're having that anxiety, when we're so worried about whether or not this other person likes us. We might not even be thinking to ourselves, do I even like this person? Do I actually like who they are? Because when you can, I guess, date someone early on and you can have like this limerence of a feeling and attachment to this person that you think is going to be like your prince charming or your perfect princess, and you think that this person is going to change your life in like a huge way, but they're not really living up to that expectation, and it's giving you anxiety because you can't really tell whether or not this person actually likes you as much as you want them to. You just got to think about that for a little bit. I've been there. I've been there. So I understand the feeling. But when you look at that, when you look at this question, do they actually like me? And all of the feelings that you have had that have led you to this moment of watching this YouTube video or podcast episode of To Be Known, then you need to think to yourself, how much energy and time have I put towards thinking about this dynamic? And do I really think that they've even done the same? Chances are they haven't. Chances are, if you are wondering whether or not this person actually likes you, they're probably avoiding that hard conversation with you about whether or not they actually like you. And 9 times out of 10, this person probably doesn't like you back. And I'm just starting off the episode saying that. 9 times out of 10, if you are at the point where you are wondering whether or not this person actually likes you, chances are they probably don't. Because a person who genuinely dates you and sees early on the value of who you are as a person will tell you, they will show you, they will respond to you. They will see your value and they will not want to let you go. Just the same as you are trying to do with this person. You think that this person has so much value that they can add to your life that you are so worried about letting it go, about whether or not this person actually likes you, because you're really holding on to this grip of this idea of this person that probably is not true. It's probably not true, if I'm going to be completely honest. If this person is leading you on and not responding to you, not asking you out on dates except for like every once in a while, you gotta really reconsider like your attachment to this person. Because the longer you hold on to this dynamic, the further and further you are going to dive into this feeling of insecurity that this relationship or dynamic is going to bring up within you. It is a tough pill to swallow. So, before we get any further, I feel as though I need to tell you some signs that this person does like you and that you might just be caught up in anxiety. Because the thing about me is that I definitely can get caught up in my anxiety and convince myself that something is going one way when it's actually going another way. And that could be a good or bad thing, by the way. But if this person genuinely likes you, they are texting you consistently throughout the day and throughout the week. And if they are busy, they will let you know. They will let you know and they will apologize for being busy and for not getting back to you. Another thing that they'll do is they will make time for you. They will make time to see you. They will make time to talk to you. They will make time to connect with you. They will tell you what is going on in their lives, and they will also want you to be a part of it. They will ask you out on that date. They will ask you to meet their friends. They will ask you to literally do quite anything with them if they genuinely like you. Just saying. You should be seeing a person that you like, that you are dating, at least once a week if you are living within reasonable distance of each other. If it is not that often, this person, to be quite honest, does not like you. period. I'm being blunt. When you are dating someone, even in the early stages, and sending them that good morning or good night text, like, I don't know, maybe it's just being like in your 20s or like teens, because I'm 24. I think that that is one of the sweetest things that you can do because it tells someone that you are thinking of them when you wake up in the morning and that you're thinking of them when you go to bed. And I think that is genuinely very sweet and a very good sign that this person likes you. Another thing is they find things that remind them of you. When they are reminded of you, they tell you. They send you a photo. They get you some flowers. They get a little gift from like a trip that they went on and they came back and they gave it to you. They will give you little gifts and little reminders that they are thinking of you throughout the day, throughout the week, whatever. It doesn't have to be big. Like, this person doesn't have to shout from the rooftops that they love you like a week into knowing you. But if they are consistently messaging you, wanting to see you, wanting to make plans with you, wanting to just share what's going on in their life and that they're thinking about you and telling you the things that they like about you and complimenting you, I mean, come on. Like, this person should be complimenting you. If the person that you are dating and you are wondering whether or not this person likes you is not complimenting you, if they don't want to spend time with you, if they are genuinely like stringing you along, I did an episode on Don't Make a Feast Out of Breadcrumbs. You should listen to that episode because you don't deserve to be breadcrumbed by someone. However, sometimes when we are in this anxiety of wondering like whether or not this person likes us, we can we can make a feast out of breadcrumbs. Like, we can literally starve ourselves of attention and think that any little morsel of attention that this person gives us is like a 7-course feast that is satisfying something within us. However, that makes like a gaping hole within you, because if you go any further into that relationship where this person is not giving you the time of day and is genuinely breadcrumbing you, you will be a disaster by the time that you get on the other side. You should not go into a relationship like that, to be blunt. Today's episode, I feel like I'm being blunt a little bit, but those are some signs that you can tell early on in dating that this person likes you. It's not too hard. It's pretty easy to see. But if this person is sending you all those signals and you're still wondering whether or not this person actually likes me, what that tells me is that you might need to have a conversation with them. You might need to put your heart out on the line. If you are still struggling to figure out whether or not this person actually likes you, then let's get a little bit deeper. Let's get into your anxiety. Because the thing about anxiety is that it can convince us of things that aren't true. However, anxiety can also point out things that are true. So that's a little bit of a doozy. Anxiety is a very loud voice in our minds. However, intuition is a lot more quiet. So let me tell you about how anxiety might be showing up in your life that you might not be really thinking about. When anxiety shows up in the early stages of dating, it can look like overthinking. It can look like cyber stalking this person on social media. It can look like, rereading your texts. It can look like it's the only thing that you're able to talk about with loved ones is whether or not this person actually likes you. That's how anxiety shows up. Anxiety also kind of masks intuition in the way that we might be so up here that we're not actually listening to like what our body is trying to tell us. If when you are around this person, you are feeling very calm and very sure that you are around someone that actually wants to spend time with you and feels good about you, and you feel safe around this person, but then the second that they leave, the second that you're alone, then that anxiety hits. What that tells me is that you might be just way too anxious. You might be way too anxious, and that attachment just might not be working for you. The thing about anxiety and this question of wondering whether or not this person actually likes you, You really need to think about how you feel when you are physically around this person. Not when you're alone, not when you're without them, but how do you feel when you are around this person, when you are right there next to them? Do you feel calm? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like this person is very present with you? Or do you feel the opposite? When you are with this person, are you still wondering whether or not this person likes you? Do they give you attention? Do you feel unsafe? Do you question yourself when you are physically with them, like in the same room? That will tell you a little bit more about your anxiety. What that anxiety tells me when you guys are apart is that you have an anxious attachment that you are needing to work on. It has nothing to do with the relationship or the other person. It's just really about you. However, if you, whenever you're with this person, whenever you're with this person, if you feel anxiety and like worry and like wondering whether or not this person actually likes you while you are physically with them, and you just literally like cannot tell, like they are not giving you attention, they're not complimenting you, they're not looking at you, they're not touching you, they're not like, they're just not there. Like you can't tell where they are because they're just not there, even though you guys are in the same room. That is a sign. That is a sign that something is wrong. That something is wrong in the dynamic and that they are not fully invested like you are. So you really need to like take a look within and take a look at your, past experiences with this person, because I'm guessing that you're probably alone right now and you're not with this person. And you need to go back and you need to think, when I am around this person, do I feel safe or do I feel anxious? Because the thing about anxiety, as I said earlier, is that that voice is very loud. You will hear that anxiety when you feel it, obviously. However, intuition is a lot more quiet. Intuition can often be ignored because we feel safe and we're not paying attention to it in the moment because we feel safe. We're focused on being present. But if you can look back and you can say, yeah, no, when I'm around this person, I feel anxious, that probably means that something is going on and maybe this person does not actually like you and maybe this person is not worth your time. Do you feel safe around them or do you feel anxious around them? That is like a telltale sign on whether or not this anxiety is a you thing or it's a them thing. You know what I mean? Because if you feel anxious around them, that tells me that this person is not worth your time. Personal opinion. Everything needs to be taken with a grain of salt because I also like don't know your dynamic, but I know for a fact that like when I was in situationships like when I was younger and I was around people who I just couldn't tell like how they felt about me, and I would be so anxious like when I was with them, like I would be giddy, don't get me wrong, but I would be like anxious and like really unsure about what was happening and always like self-evaluating myself, evaluating them, evaluating the situation, like looking for any clues or signs on like whether or not this person liked me. I was like it is draining, but if you know, you know. And I would just be on edge around this person. And that's for good reason because at the end of the day, they didn't pan out. Like those situationships did not lead into a relationship because this person was not there with me. And to be honest, like I wasn't necessarily there with that person. But when I've had those dynamics early on in dating where things have felt safe, that has led me to a beautiful relationship. And like it's just very different feelings. And if you have never had that feeling of security when being with like a person early on in dating, that can be really hard to know what that feels like for you. If I were to describe how that feels when it's early on in dating, you've only ever known anxiety and like this feeling of questioning. If I were to give you a piece of advice and to say one thing, if you are around this person and you're questioning whether or not you're feeling secure and you want to know, like, okay, like, what is something that I can do that makes me like know for a fact that I feel secure about this person? If I were to tell you one telltale sign to know whether or not you're feeling secure or anxious and early on in dating, look at the moments of silence that you have with this person. Are you able, in that moment of silence, to be completely comfortable, to feel as though it is a moment that you are both sharing together, that you don't feel the need to say anything, that you feel comfortable enough in their presence that don't, you just don't feel the need to say anything. If anything, it kind of brings you closer to that person. It's a comfortable silence. Or does it make you question even more? Does it make you wonder what they're thinking in a way that's like negative, in a way that you can't quite control or grasp, like, oh my God, why is it quiet? Maybe you're that type of person. I don't know. For me, I felt like when I had moments of silence with my boyfriend early on in us dating, they felt very intentional and they didn't happen often, but like when it happened, I just felt like it was a powerful moment. And I felt like he knew that too, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to say it other than that. Like, it's just a feeling that you have where you feel safe to just be with this person. That's hard to know whether or not a person likes you back in those moments, but that is one way that you can tell yourself whether or not you feel safe in this dynamic. So let's get back to this idea of wondering whether or not they actually like you. Because I just went on a tangent because I want you to make sure whether or not this is a dynamic that you even want to continue before you even get going into this question of this nitty and gritty of whether or not this person actually likes you. Because maybe you don't even want to continue. Maybe you stop listening to that episode. Maybe you already have stopped listening to the episode. But maybe you are feeling secure. You feel those things with them, but you're still just curious. How does this person actually feel about me? Well, let's break it down. First things first, quick responses versus slow responses. The faster, sometimes the better, but also that's not quite true. Because if someone takes a while to respond and they're just not a good texter, if they are texting you and it genuinely feels like they want to continue the conversation, are they genuinely trying to create a conversation with you, ask you how your day is doing, tell you about the moments where, they had a funny moment or whatever? Are they actually trying to share with you what's going on in their life? Are they trying to tell you whether or not they're thinking about you? Do they try to have a depth of conversation within a text? Or is it just more like, oh, how you doing? Good. How about you? Good. What'd you do today? Ate. Slept. Oh, nice. Like, when a conversation is bland and it just feels like there's nothing going on, but this person is responding to you quickly. They probably don't like you. If they are genuinely trying to have a conversation with you, whether or not it's 20 minutes in between each text or 3 hours, if that conversation is genuinely there, they probably like you. Just saying. Another sign that I want to talk about is this idea of ambiguity versus inconsistency. Some people like to play hard to get, and they don't want to put all of their cards out on the table. And they might be a little ambiguous with you on whether or not they like you because they're still trying to see the waters, they're still trying to navigate and understand who you are. And they might not want to tell you that they like you, maybe out of fear, maybe out of, worry about you. Maybe they're also anxious. However, this ambiguity can be solved by having a conversation with them of you laying your heart out on the line and telling them that you like them. And if they respond in a bad way or in a way where they're still ambiguous on whether or not they like you, run. Run. If they tell you that they like you back and maybe you're scared to be the first one to say it, then, you won. You figured it out. You had the conversation that maybe they were too scared to have themselves. However, this idea of inconsistency is a red flag that you need to run away from. If this person is inconsistent in how they talk to you and how they, want to spend time with you, any form of inconsistency tells me one of two things. Either they don't like you and they only want to be around you or message you when they're bored, or maybe they are too busy in their own lives for a relationship. The emotional roller coaster that this person might put you through of really high highs and really low lows. That's another inconsistency that I think is really triggering and anxiety inducing and something that you do not want to be a part of. Because if they are putting you through that emotional roller coaster and they are not being consistent with you and how they communicate and feel and hang out with you, they don't like you. Because someone who genuinely likes you would be consistent with you. The next thing is this idea of love bombing versus genuine connection. Now, genuine connection is something that is like an electricity between people. Genuine connection is when you understand like how this person is and how they operate and knowing like seeing this person for who they are and genuinely liking them. Like genuinely liking them for who they are. They have put their cards out on the table, or maybe you're still getting to know them, but you just have this sense. It's like this sixth sense that you have a good connection with this person. Something about their personality, their values, their ambitions, their passions, that it resonates with you and you feel that connection with them. However, there's also this idea of love bombing. And love bombing is when you have this picture perfect idea of this person and maybe they drop the love bomb on you. Maybe they say that they love you like a week into you guys knowing each other and you're just like overwhelmed by this fairy tale romance. After this love bombing happens, they start being inconsistent with you. Like maybe like just things get weird after the love bombing. Run. Run. Run away as fast as you can from that love bombing. There's a difference between telling someone that you love them early on and genuinely meaning it and love bombing. Love bombing is when someone just says, I love you, and then they continue to do trash things and be inconsistent with you and just, I don't know, it's like it's a manipulation tool. Not good. Not good. If someone love bombs you, you are in for a roller coaster and you probably already know that you're on the ride. So that's something. By now, I hope that you have a better understanding of whether or not this person actually likes you. Because if they did, they would genuinely tell you. Maybe it's your anxiety getting in the way. Maybe when you're around this person, you feel safe, but then the moment that you guys are apart, maybe you have just an anxious attachment style that you need to go through. That's something to explore on your own. But maybe this person, you genuinely cannot tell and they genuinely give you anxiety. That is a call for concern. That is a cause for concern. You need to rethink that one. If you are just like navigating something that just does not feel quite right, you need to really listen to yourself and your intuition because it knows. If you are listening throughout this episode and you are still just feeling anxious and you can't quite pull yourself out of it, that tells me that something is seriously wrong with your dynamic with this person. I might not be right. I don't have all the answers to everything, but I know a few things about a couple of things, and I don't think that you should be ending this episode feeling anxious about this person still. I think that you should really understand where you are at in this dynamic and be questioning whether or not you even want to have a relationship with this person if they are not giving you the time of day, if they are not telling you whether or not they like you, if, they're doing any of those weird things I said. Do you want it or do you not? Is this person genuinely worth your time? That might be a tough pill to swallow. Just saying. I feel like I went on a huge ramble today. This is my second episode that I recorded today, and like my jaw hurts from how much I've been talking. So I'm gonna leave that at that. Was this the best answer I could have provided for you on whether or not this person actually likes you? I don't have all the answers, but hopefully I made you think about a little bit of something. Hopefully I made you think about your dynamic. Hopefully I made you think about how you internally feel, about how you internally navigate this, dating relationship with this person or just dating in general. I know for me, I definitely have an anxious attachment style and it sucks. However, it's something that you can work through, and with the right person, they can help you heal your anxious attachment style, to be blunt. They can help you heal. It's just all about you and what you want to do and whether or not this person is worth your time. I hope throughout this whole conversation that you have a little bit of a better understanding on how your mind works, on this dynamic that you have with this person, whether or not you want to continue this relationship, whether or not maybe you just have a little bit too much anxiety, you need to think it over, whether or not this person is genuinely worth your time. You got to ask yourself, am I being breadcrumbed? Is this person genuinely someone who likes me? Or am I in a dynamic that's not serving me? You know the answer. If you are still wondering whether or not you know the answer, that's telling me that it's probably not worth your time and it's probably not serving you. You should be coming out on the other side of this episode if you are in a dynamic where, you might have a little bit of anxiety and you're wondering whether or not this person likes you. You should be coming out of this and be like, you know what? I just need to talk to this person. I just need to ask them whether or not they like me because I think I feel secure. I think that I feel safe with this person. I feel secure with this person. I don't think that they have ill intentions. You should be feeling very sure of yourself and very sure of the dynamic. And if you don't feel that way, then run. To be blunt, run away. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. I hope that I gave you a little bit of clarity. Let me know if I did in the comments below. I will see you in another episode of To Be Known. I will be back next week. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at To Be Known Pod. Subscribe on YouTube, like this video, listen on Spotify. And with all that being said, stay true to you. Do not let anyone dim your light. Okay. Bye.